Don't sit.
Don't even sit.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. This is one of our special nights. We have nights like this throughout the year where we honor our students. We honor our athletes, we honor our musicians, and tonight we honor our scientists. And while there's a lot listed on our agenda, I notice there aren't a lot here, and that is totally our fault because it's IB month. And I believe IB Bio was today, and IB Physics is tomorrow. So for those who did come, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We have this much business that we're going to get to, and then we're going to get right to you because I know you have a lot of setting to do. Before the business, I do have one announcement. Center Stage is putting on the production of Calendar Catastrophe here on Thursday, May 19th and 20th. I've seen all of Center Stage's productions. They are amazing. If anybody hasn't seen them, they're really wonderful spectacles to see. If anybody's interested, you can go online on rvcschools.org and click on the high school, and there'll be an order form for tickets. They are always sellout shows, always. They are just fabulous sellout shows, so we heartily recommend them. To our business, I need a motion to approve the minutes as listed in the agenda.
So moved.
And a second? Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Johnson, we have several gifts.
Superintendent recommends the acceptance of actually two gifts. One is a tree to Watson Elementary School in memory of a former staff member, and from a district a bench to the Hewitt Elementary School.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to accept the gifts as listed in the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
As I said, brief business. On to our students. Dr. Johnson, do you?
Yeah, I'm going to actually turn this over to Mr. Murphy and ask him to please come to the podium and talk a little bit about the school's involvement in a number of competitions and the research that our young people here at Southside High School are involved in. It's just extraordinary. So,
thank you, Dr. Johnson. We're especially, as it was said by Ms. Dion, every month in the last few months we've celebrated the students' accomplishments. And one of the hallmarks of the school is the science research program that starts in freshman year and leads to 12th grade. While a lot of the press is dedicated to those upper echelon competitions that Mr. Weiss will allude to, the Intels and the Siemens, the students are involved in active competitions and authentic science research from 9th grade on, from Imaginations to the Young Naturalists. And students have this novel opportunity not just to experience authentic science research, but to really explore their passions and have a lot of autonomy in terms of the subject matter and the partnerships that they involve themselves in. While it is nice and we will celebrate a lot of the winners, we're really appreciative and proud of the number of students who choose to elect and dedicate the amount of man hours that's involved in these competitions, irrespective of whether they win cash or awards. So without much further ado, I'd like to introduce the head science research teacher, Mr. Herb Weiss, who will introduce our students.
Well, first thing first thing I want to do is I want to congratulate all the Intel participants. I'm just going to mention your name, and I'd like to bring you up so you can acknowledge. these people, students who participate in Intel and Siemens, dedicated...
Mr. Weiss, you have to speak into the
Oh, I'm
microphone,
sorry.
because this does get taped, and somebody tells me that they watch it on TV, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I watch it on my downtime.
So anyways, I was saying is that students who participate in Intel and Siemens, they dedicate a good part of their summer and a good part of their senior year into developing, researching, and writing a paper. And unfortunately, like Mr. Murphy said, not everybody wins. There's only 300 winners in the country. And you're talking about thousands upon thousands of people who enter. So, what makes, delineates the top 300 from, let's say, the next 700 is so subjective, and really is, you don't know what people are looking for, that I feel like, you worked hard, and the research was awesome, you learned something, you found something you're passionate about, and in some cases, you might have found something that you're not passionate about. And you said, well, I don't think I'm going to go in that direction, I'm going to go in another direction. And that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. It's nice to know before you go to college that, I'm really not interested in this right now. So, for starters, let me bring up all my Siemens and Intel participants, if you wouldn't mind. Brianna, Audrey, Matt, I'm trying to see, a lot of people couldn't take, and Matt, both Matts, Morley, Sean, and Ben. Come on up.
You're going to tell us more about them, though, right?
I'm going to give you a little something.
Okay.
Yes. All right, very quickly. I know, sorry. I'm used to walking away from the mic, not being in front of it. Okay, very quickly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the projects. I'm going to give you a very quick overview. Now, Audrey researched the life cycles of clams and oysters, and with respect to the environment, and I believe climate change as well, looking at how things have changed over time. Awesome project, and I got to tell you, she spent the summer at Stony Brook University, and yeah, it was an awesome project. Sean was at Stony Brook University as well, and Sean came up with a different way to, I guess, slice DNA. I'm trying to simplify it. Really, slice DNA in a more simple way to make it more efficient for recombination. Am I sort of hitting that? I thought so, yeah. Matt DeLuccio. Matt spent the summer with me, a good part of it. We're actually researching Reynolds Channel and the ecosystem there. We're looking at to see if how well or how much the environment has come back subsequent to Sandy. Brianna was at Westbury, SUNY Westbury, and she was actually with an organic chemist, and her research was on the Gauss method, which is relatively a new method of looking at organic chemistry, looking at the orientation of these molecules and how they react with one another, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. Matt Sackstein went to Brown University, and Matt actually looked at the function of proteins. I mean, I think about what these guys did, and I'm always in awe, because the reality is it goes over my head. And I think, I do know a lot, but the kids really do an awesome job. Morley did a project right here at Southside High School, trying to calculate trying to figure out how to remove space debris. Ultimately, what goes up must come down. And we're sending all these satellites into the sky, and well, we got a problem, because eventually they will come down on us. And Morley was trying to figure out ways to make it a little safer here on Earth. Now, the last person that I didn't forget about you, Jeremy. Jeremy Silverman, just talk a little bit about Jeremy. Spent the summer at Garcia. What made Jeremy a very special student is that he did 2 research projects. One project he did at Hofstra. He started 2 years ago and continued it. And I believe that paper was submitted for publication, correct? But this is what I mean about students finding what they're passionate about and what they're not passionate about. Jeremy was doing an environmental project, and it was environmental chemistry, but he didn't love it. So he went to more of an engineering type of a project, which he did at Garcia. And the Garcia project was, he actually looked at the zinc that you put on your nose, on your face, and the carcinogenic effects that it has on the body. Am I correct?
On the cells.
On cells, okay, not on the body, but on the cells. And how, we always, in science, sometimes we start out with the best intentions, just as in life, and then we realize, we may have messed up a little bit. And that's what Jeremy was researching. Well, Jeremy was one of those top 300, and he was a Siemens semifinalist. So with that, I want to say congratulations. It was awesome. Now, again, I'm sorry about the other students. I'm not going to run down their projects because they're not here. I mean, like you said, it's IB week.
It's IB week.
That's all right.
We have to work on this date next time.
Now, the next thing is, do you want me to talk about the next group of kids, the Chem Imaginations, or?
Why don't we do
you want to do them separately?
Could we just get together?
Okay. Do we get to ask them questions? No, we shouldn't do that.
Go ahead.
No. All right. Does anybody have any questions for our students?
Does any of them want to tell us about their project? Anything special?
Come on, Jeremy.
Come on, anybody,
Come
anybody.
on. You got.
Anybody disagree with Mr. Weiss?
All right, so I guess I'll just explain my project a little bit more.
Okay.
So what I looked at was actually titanium dioxide nanoparticles. They're found in things such as toothpaste and sunscreen, like he mentioned. And I looked at different concentrations of these nanoparticles. And nanoparticles are just small. They're smaller than a few. They're a certain length, pretty much, a certain size. That's what defines them. And then I looked at different concentrations and how these nanoparticles affected skin stem cells. And then I used a common bacteria to see the relationship. And what I found was that as the concentration of the nanoparticles increased, so did the susceptibility of the cells to bacterial infection. And yeah, that's pretty much what I concluded about that.
Anybody else get lost? Fabulous. Wonderful. Thank you. So, several of you are seniors, right? Who's senior? Okay. No, not all of them. One's not. Are you majoring in science? What are you guys majoring in? What do you think? Just let's go down the line.
Where are you going?
I'm majoring in engineering.
Okay.
University of Pennsylvania.
Very nice.
I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. I'm going to Northeastern.
Fabulous.
I'm majoring in business, and I'm going to Cornell.
Fabulous.
Business at Tulane.
Wonderful.
Biology at Michigan.
Great.
Biomedical engineering at Penn State.
Undecided in senior year.
All right. Yeah. And the reason I ask you that is because I love the fact that you're not all going into science, because this is what high school is about. You try different things, and you do it in college too. So congratulations. We are all blown away. And now we have to take pictures. Now we
Lauren, put them in that reduced.
Yeah, maybe not in front of the reviews. You can try over here if everybody can squish it.
I think it's part of his stipend,
All right, guys, we're going to go over there. Lauren directs us.
but
She's very
covers the school.
You guys could just squeeze in over here.
A lot of garbage.
It's gonna take a while, but not yet.
Brianna, Heidi, what'd you do?
Made them research accessibility.
Picture time.
Noreen,
Noreen, come back.
get a little bit closer. Okay, ready?
I meant to kill them.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We have more. We have more students to torture.
All right, the next group of students I want to bring up and congratulate are our ChemMaginations regional winners. ChemMaginations, I want you to think about this. One of the things we ask our students to do is think about where science is today and where is it going to be in the next 25 years. The students don't have to do a research project per se, but they have to think about and use their imaginations, and not only think about and use their imaginations, but use the applied science that's out there today and come up with a timeline and breakthroughs that are going to bring them to the next level. I think this is one of the more fun competitions, and it's one of the harder competitions for the students because they have to think about something that's not there yet. And first off, we didn't actually get to congratulate this group last year just because the nationals are in June, but they came here this year with and they won their region again. But Sean Donnelly and Morley were, stand up if you can, they actually won, they were 4th place last year in the Nationals. And their project, come on up now, guys. Their project, I know, their project was a lot of fun. And I'm going to give a brief explanation, and if you're interested, I'll let them expand on it. But again, what goes up must come down. And last year, they figured out a way to build a material to grab these satellites and put them in another place. How they changed their project this year was that the students had calculus behind them, and they realized that their math was wrong. And so now they fixed the math, and they impressed the judges over at St. John's, and they were invited back to the Nationals. So, Morley and Sean, congratulations. Now, the next group was a group that, I'll tell you, they are sophomores, and I was impressed with what they did. And I just said, you know, I just didn't see sophomores getting to the next level. But wow. It was awesome. The judges loved them. I know the judges. I talked to them, and they were so impressed with your work. Preston and Alex, where are you? Come on up. So, their project is that basically they want to feed the world. Oversimplified, and again, if you're curious, I'll let them talk about it. They want to feed the world, and they developed a way. Well, the paper is titled Supercharged Photosynthesis, which increases the rate of photosynthesis within plants to produce a greater yield in crops, a quicker yield in crops. Anyway, this group is off to Riverdale, I think, this year. Last year it was in Princeton. This year it's in Riverdale to present their work at the Nationals on June 4th, I think. I just got the information about on all the paperwork that we'll fill out. It's on a Saturday. And this year, you know, I'm expecting big things from this group because Sean and Morley were there last year, so they know exactly what to expect. And I expect Alex and Preston to be right at their heels because I think their project is really great. And by the way, what I loved about Preston and Alex's project, and I think what the judges loved about it is they had these modalities that they built by hand, which was great. You know, it was like, wow, they spent a lot of time and they were able to explain it. So these are our winners for Chem Imaginations.
Do you guys want to talk about your project? You too.
So basically a little bit about our project. Just to clarify what Mr. Weiss was talking about, basically like not many people would really consider this, but all the satellites that we've sent up over like the last 50 years, starting with like Sputnik 1, have just been floating around in space. And space is getting kind of crowded, and it's harder and harder to launch new rockets because you have to dodge each and every one of these satellites, and there are thousands of them. So in the next 50 to 100 years, it will be impossible to fly into space at the current, if we continue increasing the number of satellites in space at the current rate. So what our project's trying to do is decrease the number of satellites orbiting Earth so that space travel is cheaper and easier in the future.
Wow. You guys, come on.
Okay, so like, since the population is increasing, it's getting like harder to make enough food to feed everyone. So some plants carry out this process of photosynthesis called C4 photosynthesis that's more efficient, and it allows them to grow faster and have a greater yield. So some researchers are trying to make normal plants carry out this form of photosynthesis so they can also have more of those crops and feed more people with genetic engineering.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Now we take
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Take one more, so just do there. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Next award winner earned a bronze medal in the AXO competition. The AXO competition is our partnership with the NAACP, and it's for African American students who want to go into the sciences or the arts. And Jordan, this is the first competition she actually entered. I was very, very impressed. You did great. Impressed the judges quite a bit. And come on up, Jordan. And Jordan's project, and this goes to show that it's all about the science. It's not as much about the complexity of the project. Was there good science? In short, Jordan examined the trajectory of shooting a basketball. And as long as everybody else said something about their project, I'm going to let you talk a minute or two about it.
Okay, so I took video of myself shooting a basketball, and I measured the angle with the protractor. And after that, I found the velocity components, and I found, and I tested that against the simulator to see like what the best angle for shooting a free throw was for basketball.
So now you never miss?
I wish.
I wish.
Are you a great basketball player now?
Can you coach our basketball team next week? I would like that information.
You would? And Jordan, I think, you're a freshman, aren't you?
No, I'm a junior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
There's one more? Sorry, you want to do?
Yeah, we'll get one more. Just stay. You have to get a picture too.
Okay. All right, next one, Samantha Ying. Come on up, Sam. Sam is a freshman, actually, which is amazing because, the students compete against various grades in high school. And Samantha took second place in the Nassau Community College Arts and Science Fair. Again, the idea of a freshman going to a science competition and being able to explain and expand upon what they did to college professors, and this goes for all the students here, but especially a freshman, it's got to be daunting. But Samantha, as long as we're letting everybody explain their project, Come on up. Good.
So I tested the rate of feather degradation with 2 different types of bacteria, and I tested them separately, and one group was combined with the 2 bacteria. And we measured the absorbance readings with a spectrophotometer, which is basically how much light was absorbed by the fluid after a certain amount of time. And this was just the purpose was this is because there's feather waste, and we want to help waste management in the poultry industry.
Wow. Wow. Are you going to continue your research?
I'm not sure.
You're not? Okay. Well, congratulations. Not to keep you.
Samantha, you went to Colbert, right? And your grandfather, is he still in China? Yeah. He can play this back on the video.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations to all of our students. Thank you, Mr. Weiss, for coming in and bringing them all in. And I really do appreciate everybody coming in. I know it's a really tough week, tough month. So thank you so much.
We're going to release them.
What? Well, if they could stay and listen to the budget hearing, or you could go. Bye. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. That was really.
I used to walk Samantha. I used to walk with her grandfather to school every day.
Are you serious?
Her grandfather used to walk her and another daughter, an older sister, every day.
That's so funny.
Speak one word.
He didn't speak.
One word. We got along so good.
Yeah. I'm waiting for them to.
I know you said Sam.
What's that?
You're all alone.
Should be able to be for the weekend.
I told you when we're involved.
You pick the right week to come. They're so great. Okay. So tonight is our budget hearing. The budget vote, which is on May 17th, 2 weeks from yesterday, here at the high school from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. The budget is set. Everybody should have received yours. Does anybody have your schools? Everybody should have received your schools at home. There are some outside. Budgets are also outside. Nothing can change in the budget as of today. No, nothing. No, the budget is set. The budget is set. The budget is. This is a hearing that is required to answer any questions, but the budget is set. There are no more decisions to be made, except for you to decide to go vote on May 17th. So, Dr. Johnson, do you want to say anything about the budget? Otherwise...
Yes, I'd just like to turn it over to Mr.
Okay.
Bartels.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, fine. Enough has been said. Look,
Yes, we've been talking about the budget.
we've been visiting schools, we've been talking at many of our meetings. I think the important thing is that the community understand very clearly that this is a budget that retains and maintains all that we had this past year into next year. We've done it with a minimum amount of change in the finances for our community, and we are living within the tax cap. Not an easy thing to do in this environment, but nevertheless we have, and we've been able to preserve and maintain all of the services and the wonderful programs that we have here in the school district. And on that note, Mr. Bartels.
Yeah, I'll just summarize the basic increases. The budget increase overall turns out this year to be 2.25%. The tax levy increase will only be 0.84%, which is within the tax cap, as Dr. Johnson stated. The reason we were able to do that is because we did have a big influx of revenue this year, majority from state aid. What that means to the average homeowner in Rockville Center is approximately a $100 increase in taxes. That's really it. I think Dr. Johnson summarized the rest. It's really not a lot of changes in the budget this year. Those are the big numbers, and that's about it.
And because we're under the tax cap, we just need a simple majority.
Just a simple majority.
And if the budget fails, what happens?
If the budget fails, then we cannot increase our tax levy at all, which would mean cutting about $770,000 out of the budget. So that would be one thing, and then the other piece of that, there are certain restrictions that fall upon us if the budget is defeated. So, for example, we would not be able to open our buildings to our community groups without charging them a fee. That's just one of the...
That's not our decision.
That's not our decision. That's a state decision based on a defeated budget.
Okay.
We can't buy new equipment?
Cannot buy new equipment. Now, you can replace used equipment, but you can't buy new equipment. That's another.
Okay.
What about the bond?
Does not affect the bond.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. If anybody has any questions on the budget. What? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You're right.
Jackie?
Yes, thank you.
Big presentation.
See? I know, I'm sorry. So this year, before we get to your questions, this will be the first year we will not be using our flip machines for voting. We'll be using scanning machines for voting, just like you do on regular elections. So we've had some changes to be made, and Jackie has created a little presentation, Mrs. Wong has created a little presentation on how voting will look in our gym in 2 weeks. So.
Okay, so basically, you don't have to move.
Can I see?
You don't have to move. Well, okay.
Straight.
The gymnasium will be set up the same way. Those are the gymnasium doors. Our help desk will be in the same location as it has always been. We'll have our voter registration books set up. In the past, we used to have like an alleyway where you used to sign in the voter registration books and then go right in between the tables. We're going to push the tables together so that there's only one alleyway into a area. So you're going to go in, sign into the voting book. You'll be handed a ticket, and then you take the ticket over to the ladies, the very happy ladies standing at that little entrance. They are happy. You're going to line up, redeem your ticket for a ballot, take your ballot to a privacy booth. You sit down in one of those booths, take your time, fill out your ballot, take the ballot to the scanning machines. There's 6 of them, 6 scanning machines, and cast your vote. We also have an automark device on the corner over there. That's required by law for anybody who needs special, anybody with special needs. It does Braille. It'll blow up the words on the ballot. It could do sip and puff in case anybody needs a special marking of the ballot. And that's pretty much our setup.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I like your graphics. I like your little graphics.
I'm learning
It's
it.
very exciting. See, so much has changed, right?
We're
Before
hoping
we
that the
used to just
line, by the
flip.
way, that you see there with the arrow is not as long as it, actually, it's designed. I must compliment Jackie. She's done an incredible job of planning for this, given the fact that it's all brand-new technology. This is our first time through. And I truly believe that on the basis of what we're projecting, people we can accommodate them very easily, simply, and quickly.
How many old click machines did we use?
8.
8, so it's not that big.
8, and we went
No.
down to 6.
Yeah. No, I think there's plenty. It doesn't take long.
What may take people a little bit of time is in the privacy booths,
Yes.
filling out the paper ballots.
It is kind of funny, the idea that
It's
we're
just-
filling out a paper ballot.
Isn't it unbelievable? I mean, you think in the age of technology, I mean, this is supposed to be a technological advance to what we were doing with the machines.
Well,
And yet it's a throwback to where we were 200 years ago, where you fill out a paper ballot, and instead of sticking it in a box, you run it through a machine.
And I have to say, it's required us to purchase additional supplies. I need pens for everybody to fill out the ballot. I need folders to create privacy folders. So it's just created more supplies in addition to the things that we didn't, we had obviously thought of the cost of the ballots and, that kind of, and ordering the machines that are now electronic and that kind of thing. But little things that I realized as I went through the process of changes that we needed to make.
Where are the privacy booths from? Did
The
we
privacy
rent them?
booths? Oh, no, we're using
we-
the testing cows from, that are in storage right now.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have 24 of them?
Yes, 24 of them.
How do you do the count at the end of the night?
The machine does a count.
So you go to each machine and it prints out everything?
Yeah, it spits out like a register receipt. And then I'll take them over to Robert, and he'll sit there with his calculator adding them up.
but unfortunately, this is what we had to do. We didn't have a choice. We would have been very happy staying with our little flips. But this is, every school district is going through this right now.
In Nassau County. Some did it a few
I
years
was
ago.
going to say Suffolk did it last year.
Yeah.
Not all of them, though. I thought it was all of them, but it wasn't all of
No.
them. A lot of them are going through it as well in Suffolk.
Are we staffed up or down or the same?
Pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same as CO.
And you visited there's a bond vote
I visited
recently.
during bond.
Right.
Some schools had bond votes this year, and I visited during the bond.
Was there a comment that it ran as quickly, a little longer?
They said it was smooth. They didn't have as big a turnout as we do at a regular election. So
it was hard to do.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
At the school, like even at this past election, people took the longer time in the privacy booth, but we have a lot more than typically at the school. They can get a pen and fill out the application while they're standing.
They could.
They don't need to go into the booth.
No. They could do it, yeah. They don't have to.
All right, so now, if anybody has any questions on the budget or on voting, you can go to the microphone and state your name and address.
You don't have a sample ballot, do you?
Not yet.
We don't have a ballot.
Well,
no.
That's a whole other story.
Oh, that we're waiting on our ballot.
Yeah.
Well,
We know what it's supposed to look like.
We have.
Yeah,
we've seen it.
We do have. We don't have a sample ballot to show anybody yet, but we've seen what it looks like.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and it's been sent to the printer.
Yes.
So there's a process. It's a bigger process than ordering the flip machines, and it's new and it's different. So.
Would it be, well, it's not that it's a yes or no, beneficial to put a sample ballot on the website so someone could look at it prior to coming to the school to make their process move quicker? Are you allowed to?
Sure.
Would that be a benefit?
Yeah, I would have
Can't
to put
hurt.
sample on it. And
You would just put sample on it.
And I normally have them blown up and laminated at the site, at the help desk. But I could.
If you don't think it's necessary. I mean, they
can't
typically print out the ballot for most elections in a paper just so you're a little more comfortable going into that. But our ballot, if ours is in that.
I could.
It certainly can't hurt, putting it on. And again, absentee ballots, can you talk about absentee ballots?
Absentee ballots, the application for an absentee ballot you could get it online, you could download it, send it to me, you could bring it into the administration offices, and you'll get a ballot that you would complete. It needs to be returned to me by 5 p.m. on the day of the vote. Anytime before that point, I could accept it.
Okay. So again, if anybody has any questions?
Any questions?
What? On the budget or the voting? Okay. Thus concludes our budget hearing. Mr. Bartels, do you have an update on school improvement bond?
Yes.
You're ready.
I'm ready. All of our classroom air conditioning projects have been completed with the exception of the high school, which will finish up this summer as the room renovations continue, the interior room renovations. At the high school at the South Addition, we have made a great deal of progress. We have both stairwells are in place from first floor to second floor. Rooms are being painted. We have ceiling grid work, which is in process. All the breakthroughs have been made to the existing building over the last break, so they've all been kind of punched through and then resecured so nobody can get back to the inside. And we have a lot of the exterior brickwork in process. We have probably 30% of the exterior brickwork has been done. Also, over this past break, we did convert the math office into a classroom and a classroom into the math office, into the new math office. So that's the work that's been done at the high school.
The old math office had no windows. Well, the old classroom had no windows.
Correct.
Now the new classroom has windows.
Has a window.
But the new math office
does not. Yes. Yeah, all of our offices are going to be, because of the way the building's constructed, all of the office spaces will be on the interior and are not, most of them do not have windows. At the middle school, we are working on masonry projects there. Also, over the break, we did some drainage work and some work on some of broken sidewalks, and that work is going to be continuing. We also have the middle school roof. We're continuing to do punch list items there, and from what I understand, there were no leaks at the middle school over the last several days, which is very good news. I have to follow up on that to make sure that's true of all parts of the building. I think there's still some parts that we hadn't gotten to, so I'm a little surprised I get reports of no leaks.
It's not been pouring.
Correct, but the main areas...
It also depends on which way it comes from.
Right, the main areas that we were concerned about, which kind of around the gyms, in between the gyms and that back stairwell and the band room, there were no leaks in those areas. So
that's promising.
I'm happy about that. Down at Riverside, we have work going on the fire escape and also masonry work down there, so that work is ongoing. And lastly, at the Watson School, we redid the field. We have rototilled that one section of the field that we were having some concerns about. We brought in additional topsoil, and that has all been regraded and reseeded, and we're now kind of watching that area. We do have some concerns about some puddling in one particular part of the field. We're continuing to watch that area to see if we have to make some additional modifications there.
Okay. Fabulous.
That's it.
In the new wing, we're getting the new water fountains.
Yes, we should have new water fountains coming.
With the water filters.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of, I guess, press coverage with water filters in schools.
Mm-hmm.
I know it has a mechanism that lights up to say that the filter needs to be changed. Are we keeping when we're changing these filters? Because I just envision, what happens if the mechanism breaks and it doesn't light up. How long does it go before before we have a problem.
I know we are changing them on a routine basis. I do not know if we have a specific log for them. I can check that out.
I thought Sheila, they have, are these the same water fountains at the middle
Yeah.
school? I thought she said they actually stop.
Well, I'm concerned about the mechanism
Right.
in there. If it falters in any way and
Yeah.
it doesn't stop or it doesn't light up to say that the filter needs to be changed, how do you know it needs to be changed? So I guess one of the theories I heard was we should be keeping a log as to when they're changed. So this way we can say, whoa, that one hasn't been changed yet.
What's
Why
going
not?
on?
What's going on?
Yeah, I know it was when the middle school really got started with them, had different fountains, and some of them changed because of the different use. It's not like a time-lapse type thing. It's how much use the actual filter gets. So between the different fountains they had, one would be replaced twice as often as the other one. So we can put something together as far as checking them, making sure.
I'm assuming all the filters are coming out of one location.
Yes.
Are they, like at the middle school, it calculates how many bottles of water are filtered. Are they all that way or not?
I don't know the answer to that.
If that were the case, we could check the number when it hits whatever.
My only concern is, I'm glad that we
If that
have
mechanism
filter
goes down.
machines in there. I'm just concerned that what if that mechanism in there doesn't falters in any way? We should have something that says, all right, we didn't replace this for a year. Maybe we should look to see why.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. Dr. Johnson, we have board actions. We can do this by acclamation?
It can be done by acclamation, but you need to include also on the list an addendum
Yes,
on the
okay.
PAR.
So I need a motion to approve items A through D plus an addendum to the PAR.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions?
On C, contract with Thermotech Combustion Incorporated. What is that for?
That is for plumbing work, for the district-wide work. We have different, the rest of the work we've had district-wide, we had different contracts. We have a plumber, we have electrician, we have general contractor. This is the plumber. So for example, we're doing the boiler replacement at Wilson. So this is for that.
Okay, but they're doing the plumbing at all the buildings?
Yes.
Over to you at Riverside? Okay. Was that a bid, or is that part of, that's a separate bid?
There's a separate bid. Yeah, when we bid out the remainder of the work, that was the contract that won that bid.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to return to executive session to discuss litigation matters.
So moved.
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Reminding everybody to vote in about 2 weeks on May 17th for the budget. And our next meeting is May 25th. We will be here, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.